This is Analog Spectrum. When I got married, I didn't come down the aisle to Here Comes the Bride. They played AC/DC's Thunderstruck, and that shit was awesome.
Money.
That's not bad. Move the camera down just a little bit more. That's better. I hear Lucy.
We do have the Lucinator, yes.
Anyway, how was your fucking day, bitch?
Fucking busy, man. Busy, all right?
Tell me about it, man. All right. Okay.
Me and Drew are doing engine work.
But still, doing stuff you like. All right, ready?
Do it. Go.
All right, everybody. This is Analog Spectrum. This is Tony talking to you, and I'm here with Doug and Drew. Doug and Drew, how are you doing today?
Good. Are we recording?
We are recording. We've been recording for 3 minutes.
Hello, are we on?
Are we on
Drew
the line?
we watched Drew basically move his laptop all around his living room. I'm going to put that in the front of this for filler.
Okay. Great.
Oh, yeah, so we're live. And
we're live. Okay.
We're going to have a little conversation. It's been it's been a little bit of time since we recorded. It's been a bit of a stretch, so to speak. And anyway, we're gonna kind of get in a little bit of a controversy here, maybe not. So we decided to go see the movie The Sound of Freedom, and we're going to break this podcast up in two parts. One, we're going to talk about the movie itself and what we thought about the movie, and the second part, we may dive a little bit into the whole controversy about this movie. And honestly, I think that's kind of one of the reasons we went to go see it, or at least one of the reasons I went to go see it, because I'd never even heard of this movie until there was kind of this kind of micro media storm about it, kind of coming from both angles. So anyway, we'll be talking about The Sound of Freedom, and to kind of give you a little bit of background about the movie. It's about an individual. He was in the CIA for a bit, and then he lateraled over to Homeland Security. And while in Homeland Security, he was tasked with investigating child sex trafficking and pursuing pedophiles in the United States, and he was really good at his job. He arrested several pedophiles, but clearly anybody that would work in that job for any extended period of time, it's going to have an impact on who they are and how they feel and think, and it really kind of, again, it just kind of tore at his soul. Kind of almost like on a dare, he decided to see if he could rescue a child, which he did. And rescuing this one child in the United States, or at the Mexico-Texas border, I guess, he ended up rescuing this one child. This one child told him about his lost sister, which kind of took him on this kind of sting in South America and Colombia. And that's kind of his story. What we do is we kind of see the story of an individual who is driven by his, a lot of his angst and feelings he has about child sex trafficking, and how that kind of plays out. It's based on a true story. The individual is played by Jim Caviezel. The guy's name is Tim Ballard. And the movie itself was originally produced in 2018, and it was shelved by several different studios when it was picked up by Angel Studio and then put out there. So it's kind of found a screening, 5 or 6 years after it was made, kind of against all odds, which is kind of interesting. And so I'll kind of leave it there, and I'll turn it over let's start with Doug. And Doug, tell me what you thought about the movie Sound of Freedom.
Well, yeah, the summary you gave is good, and that's, I kind of knew some of that going into this. Like you, I had never heard of it, and then I got wind of it, and I got wind of it through a Jordan Peterson podcast, and I watched Caviezel and what's his name, the actual guy,
Tim Ballard.
Tim Ballard, yeah. I watched that interview, and I was just awestruck. I was. It's just hard to imagine a person that doing the things that Tim Ballard does for basically for society. I guess, part of that he does this for himself, but to put himself through the torture of having to witness some of the things he's had to witness and really go after these are really bad people. I don't care who you are. These are horrible, horrible people. They sell children into sex slavery. And so he went after him, and so that was kind of my motivation to go and see it, because I know also because of the podcast that I watched, he has started an organization called Underground Railroad, and that is basically continuing the work that he did beyond Homeland Security. And so my thought process was, this is great. I want these people to have my money to go help. I can't be a guy that goes to Guatemala and rescues children. You know, I don't have the skills, I don't have the resources, and any of that. So at least give them my money. That was my thought process. So anyway, I went to see the movie, and with you guys, of course. And I'll tell you, man, I'm pretty brick wall when it comes to movies. But this one, my heart was in my throat for at least the first half of the movie. And that had to do with the movie making was really good. The tension was built up really well. The situation in which that father found himself without his children because they were stolen from him was extremely plausible. You know, you got buy-in as an audience member. You're like, yeah, hell yeah, that shit happens, you know. And then his desperation when he realized his children were gone. Yeah, you just felt for the guy, and you felt for the children. You felt like, so that part of it, that audience connection part, when you create stuff, was super good, in my opinion. The kid actors were brilliant, I thought. The actors that played the bad guys, especially that woman, that black woman, I don't remember her name, but she was very, very good in this. And I thought that they, like the making of the movie, it would be so easy if you were making a film like this to have the audience feel bad for the children because they smack the kids around and all of that. But they didn't do that. They didn't show you that. They opened the door to that world just enough where your imagination did the rest. And that is way more powerful than just showing you the terrible stuff that would happen. So I thought that was really, really nicely done in that regard. Caviezel, I thought was, I don't know, it's kind of stiff, man. You know, the actual guy, and he can't be like the exact guy. I know all of that, but I just, like him as an actor and as a person, I just felt he was a little bit stiff. But I don't have any corrective criticism, so I should probably shut up. I don't know how he could have done it better. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I thought his wife should have had a bigger role, based on the story that I know from behind. That she was really, really like a character on the outside, and that's not the way it was in real life. She played a huge pivotal role in him actually going and taking on this task. And then the last thing I'll say is the story diverts a little bit from reality in the fact that, spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to know, then skip past me. They don't actually find this little boy's sister on the mission that he goes after in real life. He never did find her. And so, again, knowing that, I was like, okay, Hollywood movie stuff kicks in at this point, you know, trekking through the jungle and, you know, beating up the bad guy and all that stuff. That kind of kicked in at that point. But it was still well made. But I will say the payoff for all of that was the scene where the little girl and the father reunite in the hospital. I mean, it was like, goosebumps right now talking about it. It was just, that little girl was so good. It was just brilliant, well acted, well lit, well filmed, delicate, subtle, super, super good, I thought. So overall, yeah, I thought it was a great movie, and yeah, they can have my money. No problem.
Mm-hmm. And Drew, what did you? And also, real quick, I will say, as far as the not showing child abuse, PG-13 movie, and so there's a lot of this like use your imagination, which makes it worse.
Yes.
Makes a lot of it worse because you're kind
absolutely.
of like, and
But I felt like that was important, though, right? Because this is not a bullshit topic. This is a real. It's a horrible thing that happens in real life, and it's getting worse. And so to me, I thought I can't think of a better way to show this than what they did. So
yeah, some of the statistics they talk about why this movie is, you know, has gained the weight it has, is that, you know, these child sex traffickers make more money than individuals that smuggle heroin. And the reason why is heroin's kind of one time go around, and children, can be used over and over and over again,
Yeah.
so they can
5
profit
times
off
a
one
day,
time.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, multiple times. So,
Yeah.
Drew, what did you think about the movie?
Yeah, I also really liked the movie as far as the cinematics and the story and all that stuff. I thought it was super heartbreaking, to be honest. Like, just it was really well done to evoke emotion for sure. I think for me, one of the more emotional parts was when, again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but when the little boy gave the guy the necklace, it's
Right.
like, "Can you find my sister? Like, can you help me out?" And I thought that was like gut wrenching, man. I was like, damn, like this little kid, just went through this crazy couple month ordeal, and he's still like looking out for his big sister, like, and they were looking out for each other. But yeah, to your point of the actor being kind of stiff, I see what you're saying, but I actually think that might have been part of the portrayal of a like kind of hardcore government agent type deal, like he's been through some shit, so he's kind of gonna be a little, he's
Like distant or whatever.
yeah. Not as easy to burst out into laughter and all the rest of it, because he's freaking dealing with scumbags all day, every day. And then at the beginning where he showed a lot of joy when he caught that first pedophile. So I don't know. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just his acting not being great. Who knows? But I don't know. To me, I interpret that as him being like a
Yeah. Well, of course, it's subjective.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting observation for sure.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a great movie. And I haven't watched the Peterson interview really at all, but I do remember hearing the one part where he said that they never found that dude's daughter. And so when it started coming up in the movie, I wondered what they were going to do. I was like, damn, am I about to watch this dad have another freaking like meltdown again, or like what's going to happen? And they ended up saving her. So that's kind of the part where I had my freaking heart in my throat, because I was like, I genuinely didn't know how they were going to resolve that part. So I was like, holy shit, like, is he going to find her? Are they going to be able to escape before she gets killed or something? Like what the hell is going to happen? So, overall, I thought it was really, really well done. Really good movie.
Yeah, I think you make a good point on the Caviezel. It's like, what was he kind of going for in this character? My thoughts on the movie. If it didn't have any. If it didn't have any of the controversy around it and so forth, I would give it. I give it so kind of taking it out of that, right? Is that I felt like and looking at what I know, because I think it had like a $15 million budget, which is like next to nothing.
That's
the movie
nothing,
is now
yeah.
grossed. Yeah, the movie is now grossed like 100,000, and it continues to climb. So
100 million.
100 million. Yeah, so it's definitely that's fantastic and for Hollywood. So I think they did a lot. They did a lot with the money that they had, right? The 15 million. Like, the cinematography is amazing. Some of the shots are just off the rails, fantastic. Like that opening shot through the window of the child. I thought that was just that really set the mood. And you also when they would go into those areas in Central America, South America, wherever, it gave you even the poverty in those areas is already kind of gritty. It took it to like the next level. I thought the father was amazing, and my God, my heart bled for that man, because he was trying to do what was right for his little girl. His little girl had a dream, and he wanted to cultivate that dream, and the child ends up in child slavery. I didn't realize the little girl had never been found. That really bothers me to know that now, because I know that most of the story was pretty authentic and pretty real, and that bothers me. But this movie it was kind of marketed as an action movie. It's not an action movie. It's
No.
basically, it's kind of just a kind of this, not even really a thriller. It's just this kind of almost like a documentary. Doug is straight on like Dr. Doolittle tonight, man. You really are,
Get
man.
that stupid bird away from me, man.
I
It's
love
clean.
it. So on the Caviezel thing, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to unpack his acting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think like from the nose up, man, the man has got the most somber eyes I've ever seen. Man, his eyes were
Mm-hmm.
completely expressive, like full of expression in this. His eyes were filled with emotion, but there
You
were
can
just
see the sadness, yeah, for sure.
oh yeah, yeah. This is a man who played Jesus, and he's carrying that with him, man. That's still his thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there was just scenes where I was like. I don't know if other actors would have he seems like it was either understated or maybe a little too much. I don't know. It just was a he just is an individual I haven't seen much of him. I don't know if I like him or not. I gotta warm up to him. I think
Yeah,
honestly
that's
I
kind of the
don't
boat that I'm in. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I'd warm up to him or not. I reserve the right to not like you were kind of saying. I'm not going to criticize him and I'm not going to praise
Mm-hmm.
him for his role. It's just I don't know. But
Yeah.
as far as the story goes, again, in the context of a movie made for 15 million, I thought I was very impressed.
Blown away. Yeah.
And yeah, and for the story, I mean, you're not going to make child sex trafficking give uplift you at all ever. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. So I mean, if I was to have to rate it, I'd probably give it 7 stars. I guess would be where I'd put it, 7 of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And close to 8. But the only reason why I'm not going a little bit higher is again, it's that it's like the whole Caviezel kind of. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, probably part of it has to do with that. And like I said, I hate to fault it for its budget, but I feel like there was more story to be told, and it just couldn't do it with what it had. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I felt a little. And I get it, child sex trafficking, but I felt maybe a little unfulfilled at the very
Mm-hmm.
end. But I do agree with everything you said about the child actors. Oh my gosh,
I know, right?
especially the little boy. I mean,
Yeah,
the
that dude's
character.
awesome.
Yeah, Miguel was the character's name. He was amazing. I felt like that, and other supporting characters. The cartel leader, that was a hard character for me to kind of sink my
Yeah,
teeth
same.
into because but I thought he was great. Yeah, the wife was fantastic for the very brief time Mira
Mm-hmm.
Sorvino played his wife Catherine. That was great. But a lot of the other characters, I do agree. Like the woman who was like kind of like the lead sex trafficker, and that little cabal of sex traffickers. God, they're creepy, man.
I know. I wanted to shoot
Freaking
them all in the
creepy.
face, man, which
Oh,
is
freaking
perfect. That's
creepy, man.
exactly what they're supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do.
Dude,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
awesome.
especially that one guy that was kind of the
Oh, the
effeminate
little.
guy. Oh
Oh,
God, I was just
Jesus.
like,
That guy
and
was
the fact that they
horrible.
talked about him and talk about kids in kind of a sexual way was
Oh,
just
yeah,
icky as all hell.
yeah. Which is
So,
perfect, right?
but
I
yeah,
mean,
what you're
yeah,
supposed to
it's
do, yeah,
supposed to be. Yeah.
and the fact that there was those scenes where like Caviezel couldn't control himself, like even he knew it was a raid, and they were like, dude, just let this play out. And he's like, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is
Yeah.
going someplace, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And so it was good. So again, I think if it was probably about anything else, if people said to me, should I see it? I'd probably say, maybe give it a pass because it's an important topic. I would tell anybody they probably should watch this. Okay, this is something. So if it was
Yeah,
about
because the simple fact that this is about a real guy who really did
Yeah.
this stuff, and it's still happening, and it's actually getting worse.
yeah.
That's the reason you need to go and
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Keep your freaking blinders off, man,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, the
If
world
it,
is not a beautiful place
yeah,
all the time, right?
right. If it was about smuggling, illegal dishwashing soap from freaking Russia to
Right. Well,
England,
that's
I'd be
another
like, it
big
doesn't.
problem we have. Yeah,
That is a
yeah.
huge problem. I'd be like, who gives a shit? But this one is about something people kind of need to know about.
So
So
here's
how
another
would you?
little piece of heartbreak for you.
Oh crap!
I know.
Son of a bitch, Doug.
I know you're gonna hate it, but you'll love it.
Mm.
So the father, when he went back and talked to the father in real life,
Yeah.
and he told him that the girl wasn't in the next raid that they went on and all that, and they never did actually save that girl. And the father in real life, I believe, was a priest, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
that was
Yeah.
a priest or
Or something in the
something like
clergy.
that.
He was in the
Gotcha.
clergy or something, some way. Yeah, he
Yeah,
might just be like, a local pastor or something.
something like
But
that. Yeah,
so
or
his
deacon,
comment
something like that. Yeah.
was, yeah, once he internalized that and processed that and kind of accepted the fact that he's probably never going to see his daughter again, his
Right.
answer was, if I have to give up my daughter to save these 150 children, then that's the
Right.
price that I'm willing to pay. And I'm just like, holy shit, man. How do you come to terms with that? Like I don't.
Well, yeah, like I said, the Caviezel character, we can kind of set him aside. Just the whole like that and that open, another thing that was super powerful was that actual footage of children being abducted
Yeah, yeah,
at the
yeah, yeah.
beginning,
How
like
quick it
just
happens,
right off
right?
the
People,
street. Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
Like
yeah. They just
insane!
ride up on scooters and grab a kid and drive off.
Grab
Yeah,
kid, yeah, I couldn't believe that. So,
yeah.
so how would you rate this? How would you and Drew and how would you
I'm,
rate this?
where you at, Drew?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna go on the 8.
Hmm.
I liked it. I think, yeah, like it is hard. It's hard to place a genre on it.
hmm.
I don't know. I want to compare it to Taken without comparing it to Taken, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like it was a more somber, serious,
Right.
like realistic version type deal of Taken.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, 8. I'd give it an 8. Solid 8.
Yeah, I'm giving it a solid 9. So, and that has to do with the topic, the fact that it's based in reality, the cinematography, the child actors, and in my opinion, really were the stars of the show. And yeah, I'd go see it again.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
doesn't happen with a ton of movies that I watch nowadays.
It would be hard for me to watch again. I mean,
Really?
not because it was bad. Well, just because the topic is
Yeah.
like it's. I mean, there are those like moments in there. There was actually again the what was the character? I guess I'm looking at the internet database. Vampiro was the drug cartel guy. He brought maybe a little bit of humor to it. It was there were scenes in there that were feel good. That you were kind of like
Yeah.
like when they, but again it's
heavy, man.
it's hard to watch. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
So-
But anyway, yeah. So kind of transitioning a little bit, and again, it was interesting and we all kind of consume our media different ways, but I couldn't help but to notice that there were definitely news outlets that kind of took this movie and said, oh, well, this is QAnon or far right. It almost like framed it as kind of propaganda, and truthfully, I kind of was going into this hoping, God, I hope it is. I hope it is. Because that I kind of get it. And like I said, I'm doing my best to be objective. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think there was like one line in there where like Caviezel said, no, it was something like nobody sells God's children. That was probably the
God's
only
children are
reference
for sale. Yeah.
yeah, God's. That's the only reference to religion in this whole movie.
Right.
And I do think some of this is based on I did just a very little bit of research prior to this, and I do think Caviezel has made statements that kind of are somewhat align him with QAnon, not directly, but like they have certain sayings and he used certain sayings in an interview, and people are kind of drawing that comparison. But man, I really do. But now that I've seen it, it's like I do not know why anybody would call. Now again, you can criticize the acting and things like we're doing now, but
Right.
to criticize the topic or to criticize the fact that somebody put this out here seems like has bad optics and
Pretty
is
indefensible position.
yeah, I would. It's not a fight I would pick. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like that movie about child sex trafficking. Wow, that was a load of bullshit, huh? It's like,
Yeah.
really? I mean, it's like, so I don't know that. So, and I tell you what, I'll even go the extra mile during this part of the conversation. I'll put up a couple of the news articles from different publications. I'll search them out where they basically kind of criticize this movie. And again, I don't get the far right thing. I don't get that at all because I don't think this topic has a political affiliation, man.
That was going to be my point. Like, this has
Yeah.
nothing to do with politics. It's children.
Nothing.
They're not Democrats. They're not Republicans. They're not freaking communists. They're children.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
if you're gonna freaking save anybody, that's who you save, man.
I would like to think if there's certain things that we can all get behind, don't kick dogs.
Yeah.
Don't have sex with kids.
Yeah.
Don't things like that. It's like I don't think I need to as far as I want my politician to be anti-child sex trafficking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or where I consume my media, I want them to be, hey, and again, that should kind of be your first line. Yeah, definitely great topic to bring light on. But again, I'm not a big fan of I don't think it was. I have these criticisms about it, but that's not what I'm seeing. Anyway,
no, not at all. Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you that all this stuff is this cultural war thing, and that's all horseshit and gunsmoke, man. They got nothing else to talk about. That's the truth of the matter. They're trying to pit people against one another. I'm in retail. Yeah, I'm in retail, and I see people every single day, every age, every size, every color. It doesn't matter. People are nice. They want to do good things. There's assholes. We catch people stealing, right? Or whatever. That's a small percentage, though.
Right.
It's a small percentage. The vast majority of people are good people. And if you only watch the news, if you were alien and you come down here and you just turned on Fox and CNN and MSNBC and all the big ones, you'd think we all hated each other. We were constantly at war. I mean, and that's just not true.
I think that's part of it. I think that's probably one thing that drives this is that whatever your political opponent, because this in our country, there's left and there's right. You know what I mean? That's unlike a lot of other countries out there where there's multiple political parties.
Used to be, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we've been, we've been that way for a time, but it's also like, there's always kind of common ground that we could agree on, of the fact that politics didn't play an important part. But we've gotten to the point now where, again, somebody on the left could say, I think it's a good idea, that we don't clear cut a forest where there's a rare species and once you find out that's coming from the left, people on the right might go after it just because it's almost like any like I'll even say there's all sorts of things out there right now where I'm kind of like, when I hear about them, at least initially, and of course I know there's always two sides to every story, but I'm always like, how has this become a topic where people fight? Maybe that's part of it. I also think, honestly, with this, that I don't know if it's a thing or not, but it came out at the same time that Indiana Jones came out. It kind of dethroned Indiana Jones, and I think that bothered a certain demographic.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but and I'm going to go and mention it. And I know, and again, this is where we get a little controversial. Hollywood's full of pervs. Anybody want to jump on that one? So it's like,
who wants to disagree with that?
Nobody. But the truth is,
I got two words for you: Kevin Spacey. All right, okay. I'm just saying.
Oh, Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. So like that line from the, what is it, 2000 whatever Golden Globes, where Rick Gervais is knocking everybody and he makes a joke about Rick Gervais, or makes a joke about Jeffrey Epstein, and everybody gasps and he goes, I know, he's your friend.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, exactly. So I would hope that some of the pushback this movie is receiving doesn't have to do with the fact that individuals in positions of power see this as like that first wave. A
little threat, But at the same time, this is an outside Hollywood movie. This wasn't made by Hollywood, so they didn't have control of it. It wasn't written by their, standard writers, and it wasn't, filmed by their standard cinematographers. And so, the fact that it knocked off, the summer blockbuster, and it was made for $15 million. Harrison Ford got paid more than that. Just him. Yeah. He got more than 15 mil, and this whole movie was made for that. So that tells me, like, movies are, it's a huge waste. That whole industry is, it's horrible.
Yeah, that could fishtail or dovetail or whatever, go off in a different direction, whatever analogy you want to use. But yeah, because Hollywood Disney's a mess right now. But this movie actually was in like the Disney vaults. because I think was it 20th Century had it, and then Disney bought them. I don't know how Angel got a hold of it,
I don't know either.
but I'm glad they did. I'm glad it got released.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, it
Same
was
here.
not a, but again, like I said, I'll put that out there. The controversy, I think what it really comes down to is that, truly the right, because there is kind of, there is that desire for films that are kind of, faith-based. This is not truly a faith-based movie, but I think it's probably been embraced by that faith-based group, and it's caused individuals that,
Because
and like I said,
it carries the same not messaging, but it carries the same values, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, big
really
time.
basic core values.
Yeah.
Sex with children is bad. Huh. I'm shocked. I did. Who would have thought?
It's so bad that there, probably Moses was like, "Do you want to put that in the commandments?" And God's
Yeah, yeah.
like, "I think everybody knows that, bro.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we're not really
exactly.
doing that. Okay, I mean, I think we're okay. We don't really actually need to put that on there because, come on, man. I mean, do we really need to put that one
Yeah,
on there?
really? Yeah.
But
What
I
I
guess
mean,
I guess we do.
let me say this though. Let me say this as well. If anybody wants to know more, like, and I find this stuff interesting in a weird way. If you want to know more, watch the Jordan Peterson interview with these two guys.
Right.
But be warned that there is a moment or two in there where he talks about when he first started getting on these cases and the kind of the stuff that he had to go through to watch, and it's brutal, man. It is brutal. It is soul crushingly brutal.
Yeah, I watched like the first 20.
Yeah,
I
if you're
watched
not
like the first 20 minutes of it. I don't know. I mean, to me, and I don't want to rally cage. To me, it was a little bit soft. The first 20 minutes or so was kind of softball. So I was kind of like,
it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was like, meh. I was
But he
like,
digs
I was
in.
like,
Yeah.
I don't see any hard questions coming in this interview.
Yeah.
So I was kind of
Peterson.
rolled it back.
Well, it's not so many as the questions. It's what what's his name reveals. It's the stuff Ballard. It's kind of what he talks about.
Yeah, man. Well,
to me, that was the underlying thing that made me go, I have to go see this.
Yeah, you remember like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, he had a partner and the partner quit. Like he had a partner for like a minute and the partner quit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's just there's so many things that whole corny saying things you can't unsee. Probably was never so
It's
true.
true.
But
Yeah.
but I don't know. So.
But so speaking of controversy, have you guys heard about the fact that one of the as like AMC or something, they're shutting off the air conditioners when this movie's on?
Yeah,
Have you heard about that?
No, yeah, there's like about 7 or 8 like mini clips of stuff on YouTube about that where they were talking about not screening. I don't know. I mean,
did you read
yes,
anything, Drew,
I have heard
on
about
that?
it.
Yeah, I heard. I saw some clips on like Twitter and stuff about AMC's specifically.
And so, I mean, does it look like there's any validity to it, or is it just clickbait?
I want to say AMC may be owned by like another production. Again, that whole thing, that whole spot, and I'll put it on the screen or something like that though. But I don't think it was Disney, but they're owned by somebody like that where there was that connection. I'm trying to be skeptical on that. I did see clips of it where like the theater didn't work and all that kind of stuff. And the president of AMC came back and basically said, hey, that movie screened on. We were the number one screener of that movie. It screened on like I don't know how many theater screens, and if it went off fine. We
had like 5 theaters that screwed up.
Like a couple theaters where it screwed up.
Yeah.
But again, everybody,
yeah.
And I mean, everybody had like a heightened sense of like again, it's just I threw out the Epstein thing. I don't want to be conspiratorial, but So,
well, it's like you said, the heightened sense of the bullshit alert. You know what I mean? Like they oversalted the popcorn. They're trying to control with diabetes. It's like, shut up, man.
Like
you're
I said,
making yourself look like an idiot, and you're making whoever you think you're representing look like an idiot. So it's just the same as the other side. Like they're making themselves look like idiots. Yeah, no, this movie's terrible. We shouldn't watch it. Like what?
And I tell you what, that's kind of my thought in summary is that. If I had any piece of advice to give anybody out there, you need to see the movie. You may, or you may find it. Just judge for yourself. But the truth is like if anybody's kind of like there was some critic that said this is just like a dad superhero movie, And again, it's just kind of, and it's not necessarily criticizing the topic. It's basically just trying to minimize its importance, right?
Yeah.
Like making it out to be, it's just not that. And I'm just like, that's the battle you're going to pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're actually going to say that this is not an important topic that needs to be discussed, and we need to actually do
Right.
something for these children. I'm just kind of like, that is just not a position I think you should take.
Yeah.
I don't. And again, I'm not. Do whatever you want, bro. Writing for the New York Post or whatever, or the Washington Post or whatever. But realize that this isn't going to look good.
Yeah.
So you're on the wrong side of this.
Yeah. Internet's forever. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yeah, exactly. Just a really odd position to take. So yeah.
All right.
But
So real quick on the closing here. Anybody got any upcoming movies that's like a must see?
Barbie.
Both y'all.
Dude, I'm joking. You really gonna go see that garbage?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, no. I tell you what. I honestly,
I'll go see the new Mission Impossible, but I'm not like massively
yeah.
looking forward to it though. I'll go see it just because I have so much invested in all the previous.
Yeah, maybe we should go see it and then do a podcast on it.
I think we should do a live broadcast from the theater inside.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
I want
we do that.
to I smoke.
With our phone.
Yeah, no, let's go.
This
Maybe
movie
go see it
sucks,
next.
man.
We'll go see it next week or something like that, maybe, and then check it out and then
sure.
do a quick podcast. Yeah, because this podcast originally began on Maverick, so
It's true.
I'm willing to throw some. To me, Tom Cruise is
He's
the
a movie
most.
star, man.
Yeah, he is. He's a movie star. And I'm trying to think of anything else that's coming out, but right now we got the big strike going on. Now actors are striking.
You guys heard of Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Something to do with the freaking World War II.
He's the guy who made the bomb.
He made the biggie.
Yeah, he's the guy who made the bomb. So
yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I just don't have interest in that particular film. And maybe it's who's the guy who's the lead in that?
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know.
I like that guy. He's good.
I did see the trailer for the new Willy Wonka movie.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So
hey, why? This is the same conversation that I had about the Little Mermaid thing. Like, why? There's already two Willy Wonkas, and the original one is clearly well made and good and whatever. The second one is freaky deaky. Like,
yeah. Well, this one's a prequel, so it's not a remake of either one. I will tell you, I watched it, and like I said, I'm not lining up for it, but I really was like leaning into like be like, oh, I'm gonna hate the shit out of this, right? And I was kind of like, I wasn't completely turned off by it. You know what I mean? So again, the most glowing review I can give it is the fact that I didn't want to immediately put it on my never watch list. But there were there are a few things in it. But it's it's a musical. It looks like it's got that kind of fantasy like Mary Poppins, like Willy Wonka kind of vibe. So I don't like the fact that we can't come up with, and Doug, you and I have talked about this. I come up with an original IP, please, So having Willy Wonka kind of like, I'm not big on that.
Right.
But I would like to even search and say what's coming out. But man, I got to tell you, I just nothing. So what about you, Drew? Anything?
Nope. I'm not a big movie frequenter anyway.
Yeah. Hey, so everybody, you've been hearing Lucy again. It's been so long since we've had Lucy on the podcast.
I know. If you can hear, I'm not sure if you've been hearing it because she's been relatively quiet, but there she is.
No, you can hear her.
Yeah.
She's gonna show up on the track, no doubt, bro.
Oh, okay. Okay. No problem. She loves to lay in my arm and sleep, man.
Dude, so but yeah, so and I think I had some other ideas for podcasts, but I can't think of them right now. Like what the fuck. Anyway, it's pretty late here where we are, guys. At least old man late. So
old man late, exactly. It means 8:00. Yeah.
Yeah, it got dark while we were doing it.
Yeah, no
The
doubt.
whole
Okay.
background disappeared.
Yeah, so it'd be so cool if like all of a sudden you saw like some sort of mass figure walk behind Drew. That'd be awesome. So we could
CGI, baby. Let's do
See
it.
me being a fight for my life.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I'll send a bird over.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, let's go ahead and end it there. That was
All
good.
right.
I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this. I'm going to try to get this turned around pretty quick so we can get it out there for people that might be interested. And any last thoughts? Anything we want to talk about?
Go see it. Send them your money.
Yeah, go see it. Honestly, however you lean, I will tell you this: however you lean, if you're one of those individuals that you're on one end of the spectrum, you're like you really. You've been hearing everything. You just love the idea. Love the idea of getting that information out there, and you want to go see it. Great. If you're one of those individuals that think that this is, a, far right catastrophe, and it's just a way, it's whatever. I promise you, go see it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. I think it may tear at your heartstrings. It's something probably worth watching. Try to go through it with an open mind. And I personally am glad that I went to go see it. So, all right.
Cool.
Again. Yep, everybody, you have a great night.
Have a fantastic day.
All right, time to do another outro. This is probably my least favorite part of doing podcasting, and you're probably like, why? Why, Tony? Why is this your least favorite part? Well, because I suck at it. I always screw it up. This is take 87 or something, and I'm about to lose my mind. With that said, let's just go and roll right into it. What do you need to know right now? Well, we're creeping up on podcast 60 if we're not already past that, and that's kind of crazy. So you're probably thinking, how do you pull that off? Well, Doug and I have known each other for 30 years. We'll probably still be hanging out 30 years from now, and if not longer, and we put up with each other's BS. So there's really no reason to stop. At least I don't think there is. We enjoy talking about culture, society, and entertainment, and especially through that weird retrospective perspective lens. And I'm kind of hoping you do too. And I'm guessing you do because you're listening to this right now. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. Helps a ton. Liking, sharing, and subscribing on whatever platform you're on just basically gets our show out there. Other things you can do, if you have a show idea and you're probably thinking, I got an idea, but I bet money they wouldn't talk about it. Try me. Send me the idea. Drop it in the comments. Send me an email. Weirder the better. I do like a challenge. What else if you can do? If you want to be on the show, you want to be a guest, or you know somebody that might want to be a guest, you got a story you want to tell, something you want to put out there, or maybe you just want to be part of this stupid conversation, by all means, let me know. I'll definitely reach out to you. Email's the best. Finally, I just want to say thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with us. We really, really do appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the fact that you're keeping that analog spectrum spirit alive, and I look forward to seeing you next time.